Hear me?
Yep, we can.
Okay, cool.
Hey guys, welcome back
I'm
to
turning my phone
Athlete
off. Hold on.
Stories.
Okay.
We are live right now. Hey, real quick, the show is brought to you by WODproof. WODproof recently launched Bionic, which is a program to help pro members improve their mobility and range of motion while becoming a better overall athlete. WODproof Bionic tracks and analyzes movement in real time with the goal of providing unique mobility plans for each user. The show is also brought to you by X Endurance. X Endurance is a sport supplement approved by Informed Sport for professional athletes. So if you are an athlete that gets drug tested, you can rely on X Endurance and the quality of their products. We're really grateful for our sponsors, but what we're more grateful for is our next guest, Alex Gazan.
No.
Hey, how are you?
Hi. Good. How are you?
I'm good. Hey, last weekend was a good weekend. We're coming off of like 5 days out from Granite Games. How are you feeling?
Really good. I feel like, I don't know, it's weird to just go from like so much adrenaline and so much everything to like nothing. Like, because we're out of the gym this week, like
Yeah.
not doing much. So it's just like weird.
Yeah, I would even say, I was talking to a group of buddies of mine. We have like me and four guys have this group chat we've had for years, and we've all stayed in touch. And we were talking about like, because I was at back-to-back semifinals, and of course I didn't compete, but I'm there. I'm like running the media side, the operation side for Underdogs, and so leaving and coming home was almost like depressive. You know what I mean? It was like just all the hype back to back, right? So it's like there's this chemical imbalance. It's like you partied for you, like you partied for 3 straight days, and now you're
Yeah.
like coming off.
Yeah.
Does it feel like that for you? It was like Monday, Tuesday, like you're happy, but you're also like
Yeah. I
something's
feel like
weird.
Monday was like I was still pretty like on a high, like because your phone's like blowing up, like you have all these
Yeah.
fun pictures to look through. Um, and like you don't want to be in the gym or anything, so it's like you're just fine chilling. And then like I feel like yesterday and today I'm kind of like antsy, like okay, like I want to train, but I know I shouldn't like go train because you want to like make sure your mind's good going into next week.
Yeah.
um yeah, but I mean I'm super glad to like come at least hang out with Jake. He's working, so I'm like twiddling my thumbs while he's working, but when he's back it's like nice to spend time with him.
Awesome. And for the audience, for a little context, Alex is an Underdogs Athletics athlete. She trains in Las Vegas. And if you don't follow CrossFit, then you wouldn't know this. But if you do, I'm sure you know this. But she recently got 4th place at the Granite Games this past weekend and qualified for her first CrossFit Games, which in our world is a huge deal, right? Only 40 men and 40 women qualify for this out of the 500,000 people or so that do the CrossFit Open. So it's something that people live and die by. And Alex qualified and at 20 years old. And so, and also for the audience, Jake is her husband that's working today, apparently.
Yes. Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. That's a little bit of my job, but, and you and I know each other, so you're not really thinking about the audience right now. So when because what they do after the competition is like first, second, third is usually pretty obvious. 4th and 5th, depending on how that last event goes, like you never really know. And so when they said 4th place, Alex Gazan, you're going to qualify. Do you remember how you feel? Like, could you put it into words?
I guess so. Yeah, I'll try. I knew I had to like get a significant number of points over either Emily or Chloe to qualify. And like kind of how I talked about before the event, like you can't control what they do. So like crossing the finish line, I was like, I did absolutely everything I could do. Like I won that event and I was like super excited. I figured or like at least hoped it was enough to be 5th, but when they called me 4th, I was like, whoa, like it was kind of like nice to have the relief right away instead of having to wait for the 5th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so cool. So kind of, like I mentioned, this is of course a podcast with CrossFit athletes, but we like to talk about your story outside of CrossFit, and it'll be interwoven because the majority of your life at this point is, at CrossFit.
Yeah.
But with that being said, if you were to sum up your life story in maybe 2 to 3 minutes, Alex, what would it sound like?
That's a good one. I grew up pretty fast. My parents like struggled with substance abuse like growing up, And so I like really turned to athletics for like my getaway. I did just pretty much all the sports growing up, stuck with lacrosse through high school. My junior, senior years when I got introduced to CrossFit. I also met Jake at the gym. So it was kind of like around that time, my whole life just kind of like did a 180 and I was all in with CrossFit. I ended up getting married at 18 with Jake. And now my life looks like training, work, and that's it.
Love it. And did a great job of wrapping that up probably in 90 seconds. Where were you born?
Hood River, Oregon. So it's like an hour out of Portland. Small town.
Okay. Hood River?
Mm-hmm.
What a name.
Yeah, well, it's like on the river and off of Mount Hood. So
got it. That makes more sense now.
Yeah.
How long were you there? Like, did you born, raised there, go to high school, and then leave from there?
Yeah, so I was born and raised in Hood River. I lived for like a year in another town in Oregon called Bend, but otherwise there until I got married and then moved to Vegas.
Got it. And you used to train in Oregon with a couple other CrossFit Games athletes, right?
Yeah, I got so lucky. So in my hometown, a couple athletes opened up their own gym, Reagan Huckabee, Karen McAdam, and then another master's athlete at the time, Christine Wells. So they opened up their own gym. So it was those three girls. And I was introduced to CrossFit by some of the best. So it was really, really nice.
Yeah, it's a great place to start. When you first started, was it relatively easy for you, or were there like some things that were easy and other things that were just completely foreign?
I've always been strong, so like the front squat, like all the brute strength stuff, so like just regular lifting was good for me. And then I did lacrosse, so like I had a decent engine. But in the beginning, like the gymnastics element was hard for me, like toes to bar and chest to bar and muscle ups. And then of course Olympic lifting, my mobility is a work in progress. So I couldn't even overhead squat a barbell for like a month.
Yeah, it's like over here.
Yeah.
I feel that. Alex, if you were a character in any movie, who would you be?
Oh, that's a good question, and I don't know the answer. Let me think on that. Can we come back to it?
Yeah, we'll circle back.
Okay.
I might narrow down the movies to make it a little easier, but I figured I'd see where we get.
Okay.
What describe yourself in 3 words. What would they be?
I would say I am very optimistic, sometimes to the point of being naive. I'm very dedicated, and I'd say I'm very kind. That will be my 3.
Yeah, I would agree. And I had thought about that a minute ago. I would say your abundant level of kindness. When you mentioned that last scout at Granite Games, you knew you had to like beat Chloe and you had to beat someone else. But I also know how friendly you are and how kind. And I think some of these people are probably your friends, even if they weren't before the weekend. How does that feel as someone who knows like you have to go out there and like, especially the last event, like you have to crush some of these competitors in order to punch your ticket, but you're also really kind. You know what I mean? So how do you manage that balance? Is it like, hey, I love them, but I also love my career more? Or like, how do you justify that kind of, I guess the aggression it needs to win that event?
I feel like the best way to go about it is just to constantly, like, when it comes to the actual workouts, like, you're just thinking about yourself, like, I'm doing my best. I don't really ever go into it like, oh, I'm going to crush this person. Like, I want to beat so-and-so. It's more like, I can't control if they get 2 minutes or 10 minutes. Like, they're going to do what they're going to do. But, like, I'm going to do my best. And should my best be better than them, like, I think like Chloe, like all of Chloe and Fee, who both were kind of edged out, they came and gave me hugs right away. Like I'd say the majority of the field is super supportive and we all know that we're striving for that goal. So like it sucks when you meet friends and you're like, man, like they worked hard, they didn't make it. But I think we're all in a situation where like we're happy for each other at the same time.
Yeah. Love that. Well, there's, like it's been said at some point, especially, when you begin to compete in the CrossFit Games, like those niceties kind of go out the window. So have you thought about that at all? Like how that might change in the future, if at all? I mean, because for example, you got people like Noah, who he's not changing. Like Noah's just such a nice guy.
I don't think it has to change. I think like there's no reason you can't be nice and respectful outside of the competition floor. And like, it's not I don't know, it's not personal. Like it's your own goal. Like, I don't know. I don't think I'll change. And if I do change, I want someone to whip my butt. Like I don't know.
Noted. I was going to say something. Oh, I actually thought about this, and I think Morning Chocolate or someone posted about it recently, but how do you feel about when you're like on the floor, especially for example, this rope climb event, which it didn't really happen at Granite Games, or that I remember, where like someone's struggling to finish an event and all the athletes that have finished come and like cheer that person on. How do you feel about that?
That was an interesting. I saw that post that you're referring to, and I have mixed feelings about it because I don't know, like you're doing everything that you can as an athlete to like do your best. And so, yes, like the encouragement and support is nice, but like if you can't do it, for example, like especially with a rope climb, like if you're at the point of failure, all the cheers in the world aren't going to get you up the rope. Like you have to wait till your biceps and your arms will allow you to. So I feel like in that situation, it would not be great because you're kind of like, sorry guys, like let me down.
Yeah.
Maybe
on my own
maybe
time.
if it's more like maybe if it's more like a grindy, like you're just chipping away at burpees or something. I don't know. I have mixed feelings. Like I think encouraging one another is important, but if you don't know that preference of an athlete, then I just kind of stay away because I don't want to like make them feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's how I would be, and I've thought a lot about it, but I'm like, I've never competed on that type of stage. Like I've played other types of sports, but I've never been in that. So I can't. I'm like, my opinion's really irrelevant because I've never been in that situation. You know what I mean? Like I've definitely been in workouts in the gym with friends, and those friends are like, "Come on, Jared," and I'm like, "Oh, keep doing that," like. But these are my friends, and like, I know I'm not better than them anyway, so it's not offensive that they beat me. It's like, oh, it's normal. Like, cool.
Like in training, like you have to get the work done, and like you're just trying to get better. And if you have a shitty workout, like it sucks, and then you move on. But like in a competition, it's a little more like, man, like you're probably upset, like or embarrassed, and I don't know. Maybe
like,
in a competition it's different. Yeah.
What is your earliest childhood memory?
Ooh, that's a good question. My earliest childhood memory. I remember like being really, really young, like maybe 3, and like having a Hello Kitty birthday cake. Like that's a pretty early memory.
Nice.
Otherwise, I don't know. Like I feel like I blocked out like a lot of my young childhood. I remember school. I remember my first day of kindergarten. I went to a bilingual elementary school, and so my first day of kindergarten was in Spanish, and I remember being like scared out of my mind. That's an early memory.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. So like the whole day was in Spanish?
So the town that I'm from, there's a lot of like Spanish speaking communities. So like a ton of kids would either go into elementary school not speaking English or not speaking Spanish. And so they developed this program called Dos Mundos where one day of school is in English and the next day is in Spanish. So we're learning like our ABCs and our counting and our math like in English and Spanish.
Wow.
It was really cool. Really, really
That's
cool.
pretty interesting. Do you speak Spanish fluently, or did you back then?
I spoke it very fluently back then. I'd say out of high school, like I haven't had any sort of practice or people to talk to. So now like I'm more conversant. I can talk and like not sound super white and like get my point across, but like I'll have to pause and like think of some stuff if I'm like actually having a conversation.
That's so interesting. I've never heard of something like that.
Mhm.
Um, what was one of your proudest moments as a kid?
As a kid? Like what age? Like just growing up?
Proudest accomplishments, moments. Um, you could, I mean, you're still pretty young, so it could be a couple years ago, you know?
That's a good question. I'd say like if we just in general like uh man, I don't know. It has to be sports related, I'm sure. I feel like maybe just like in a broader sense, like really proud of like not kind of giving up or letting my circumstances at home affect my school or my sports. Um, oh, this is a proud one. I remember buying my car all on my own, and I was very proud of that as a
Heck
high
yeah. Was that
schooler.
the car you drive right now?
Yeah, a little Honda.
So
She does
so
me well.
you've had one car?
Well, I guess now that I'm married, the like truck is also mine. But I mean, I've personally had one car.
Yeah. Wow. I've had like 20 cars. So
Nice.
good for you. I think by the time I was 20, I was on like my fifth car, which is not a
Due
brag.
to
It's like
Is it due
just
to like wrecking it or just because you wanted more cars or different cars?
yeah, I had five at the same time. No, like my first one was like $600 or $800 '93 Ford Thunderbird. Um, I'll make a long story short. It had a bug infestation, so I had to bug bomb it every
Oh
night
no.
and like vacuum it every morning before school. But it had a CD player, and that's all that really mattered. And so then I traded that in like 6 months later for a '94 Zuzu Rodeo, and then the power steering went out, which doesn't mean it couldn't drive. It just sucked driving. And then I got a Cadillac DeVille like a year later because I was rolling in the dough at the time, and not really, but kinda. And then that blew up, like the engine blew up, and so then I went without a car for a little while, and then financed my first car, and then that car got stolen, and I got a
Oh
Camry.
no.
So just
Man.
really like, yeah, bad
What?
luck and bad decisions mixed together.
Yeah. Oh
Um,
boy.
a whole lot of those when I was a teenager. But um, we you think you're ready to circle back to what character you would be? Let's do this. If you were a cartoon character, who would you be?
Oh, cartoon. All the cartoon movies that are popping into my mind are like just like Disney movies, um, which could work. I just got to think of all of them. Uh, what's the It's is it Brave? Like the girl with the like the curly hair.
Oh
It's
yeah,
like
I
the
think that
island. Yeah. And she
um
like goes and like shoots her bow and stuff. Maybe her.
Alex, can you pull her up? Soroka.
Yeah, one
Sorry.
second.
Let's see, because I think I've seen in our group chat like Danielle sent that before, because you do have some strong hair. Um, it's tamed right now, but
Yeah.
I could see that.
Can you see this?
That's pretty fair. Is that what you're talking about? Right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Her?
Yeah. Except you don't have like you do kind of have like hints of strawberry blonde, but not really. It's like
No,
a
it's definitely
brunette.
brown. Like, but it's big. Like she'll fluff up.
Yeah.
Still kind of thing.
There it is.
Yeah.
No, that's fair. Have you watched that movie?
I have where she like goes and is trying to save the town or.
I haven't seen it, so I missed it. So, um, what's the most trouble you've ever been in?
Oh, the one that I remember the most, like that actually like really irked me. Um, my friend Nina and I, like back in middle school, we like snuck some boys over because we were camping out in her backyard, and my parents like didn't really care much about the parenting plan. Like if I was with my mom and wanted to go to my dad's, like she wouldn't care, vice versa. Um, but my mom had a trip planned over my dad's weekend to go to Silverwood or Six Flags, like one of the amusement parks. And I really wanted to go. And after that, like my dad was like, nope, you can't go. Like that's on my weekend. And I was grounded for so long. And just like I just remember being miserable. I was like so upset. That's probably the most trouble I got into. I like wasn't really that troublesome. I don't know.
Not a bad thing.
Yeah.
What was your favorite subject in high school or like in school in general?
PE. Does that count?
Yeah, it does. I mean, I don't know if it's a subject anymore, but
Health, PE. Other like on the actual like academic side, probably math. I wasn't a fan of English or like any of that stuff.
got it. And you currently, I mean, you're working part-time, right? Would you say like part-time or
Mhm.
full-time?
Yeah, part time. Like not 40 hours.
Yeah.
So
And
it would definitely be part time.
so you're coaching at Camp Rhino CrossFit here in Vegas, both
Mm-hmm.
locations or just the north? Or
Mainly
yeah,
the
the north.
mainly the north location, and then I'll just like sub at the south sometimes.
Got it. And aside from that, of course you got your sponsors, but do you do any other work like online coaching or anything like that?
I do online nutrition coaching. Like as it comes up, it's not like I don't have a ton of clients in that space, but otherwise, yeah, that coaching, personal training, and then I feel like now we're spending so much time training that I don't have time for anything else.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean,
Yeah.
especially once you qualify for the CrossFit Games, now it's like it's a legitimate career pursuit.
Yeah.
Not that it's not if you're a semifinal athlete, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, for sure.
With where was I going with that? Oh, if you weren't pursuing competitive CrossFit, where would you see yourself like career wise?
I really wanted to be a teacher, like either a health and physical education teacher or something along those lines. That's what I originally started to go to school for. Um, yeah, probably that. I think that'd be really fun and like it's a good job and it's very rewarding at the same time.
What was your first job as a kid?
I worked at a little local like burger place called The Ranch. And I was a dishwasher. That was at 14. I mean, babysitting before that, but at 14, I was a dishwasher there. And I worked there for a while until I got a job at a different kitchen, but it was a better kitchen job.
Yeah, dishwashing is humble beginnings for sure.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. We did it.
And how long did you do that? You said a couple years?
Yeah.
Wow. Kudos to you. I mean, that's hard work. Like, it's not easy to be back at the house in the
Oh, my
kitchen.
gosh.
Like,
Yeah.
did you have to wear?
Always tell. No,
Go
I
ahead.
didn't
Go
have to
ahead.
wear a hairnet. Did you
So your
ask if I
hair
had to
must
wear
have
a
been like,
hairnet?
yeah.
I
I
just
mean,
put
because
it
you have
in a little
okay.
bun
Because it's
or
like so
something.
humid back, like it's just so moist back there. You know what I mean? So, like the whole time
Yeah.
you're behind like a dish pit. Did you have one of those big dishwashers, like those friggin'?
The like
Or
big
did
where you
you?
just slide the thing in and slide it out.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't miss doing that.
Dude, food
Well,
service
kudos to you.
like sucks. Food service is hard and tired. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean that's why like if I ever eat out, which it's not like I do often, right? But and people complain about service, I'm like, man, I know the service isn't that great, but I'm not gonna like complain too much because there's so many things that take place to get me
Yeah,
this
like
meal. Like there's the dish people in the back, there's the line cooks, there's
yeah.
all the things, and it's like this could happen anywhere. Like maybe they were literally waiting on a dish because the dish pit
Yeah.
was too backed up because the dish guy called out and there's only one when there needs to be two. And it's like there's so many things and this waitress is getting blamed for it. You know, it's like
Totally.
poor girl
Totally.
or guy. Um
Yeah.
so but that's I remember like when I was a kid, especially as a guy, like dishwashing or something was like the first job for most guys, while the girls were babysitting. And babysitting was typically way more money. Like I'm making $5 an hour behind a dish pit, and like my stepsister's making $12 an hour babysitting. I'm like, why can't I babysit? Like I'd rather do that.
Yeah.
What made you not want to
Yeah.
keep babysitting and go
Babysitting
to the
was
dish pit?
I did babysit a lot. I just also wanted like babysitting's inconsistent, right? Like you don't know when they're gonna
Yeah,
need like a
true.
date night. So yeah.
That makes
I did
that makes
both. I
sense.
worked a lot when I was younger. I like look back to like my freshman year of high school and I'm like, I don't think I could ever do as much as I did that year. Like I took pretty much every single class that I could. Like I had 2 math classes or whatever, like pushed really hard academically. I think I had like 2 jobs, like did sports. I was like, there's no way. Like right now I'd be so lazy. I'd be like, no.
Yeah, sometimes I mean when you're geared towards something, but now it's like I get that it, because as a professional athlete, not only do you have to train a lot, but you have to recover a lot, which means you can't be doing a ton of other things.
Yeah.
Like even physically
Yeah.
and mentally, like you need that recuperation. So it makes
Totally.
sense. But I'm saying, like, especially out of high school, like working 2 full-time jobs, going to school full-time, and I'm like, man, that's a lot. Like, I don't know how like now I would just be so drained, and I didn't even drink coffee back then. I'm like, what did I do?
Yeah. Yeah,
I don't,
seriously.
I don't remember how that worked for me. There was never a time where I was like, oh, I need another coffee. It was just like go, 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 go. Like
Yeah,
drink
for
soda.
real.
Maybe I drink soda. Did you ever drink soda?
Growing up, I did like as a kid, but not in like high school.
You I mean, you're super healthy now, and you came into this sport with a lot of, like you said, brute strength or raw strength. Did you do bodybuilding or physique or anything like that?
My dad was really into bodybuilding when I was in high school, so I would like go with him, but I only did like leg day. Like I didn't want to get big arms. Very ironic. Like I do like the cardio on the elliptical or the stair machine, and then do whatever he had for leg day. So I had like a little bit of background in the weight room. And then in high school, my sophomore year, I started doing like the lifting class that's like taught by the football coach, and you do like the bench press, power clean, back squat cycle.
Yeah.
So I did that, and that was like a big intro to lifting as well before
You
CrossFit.
So considering you avoided a lot of the upper body stuff until maybe that your sophomore, junior year in high school, what do you think? Because what did you bench press in quarterfinals?
248.
Like, do you think that's genetic, or did you like turn a corner and start working on your pressing strength after high school, or like?
I think half and half. Like, if I look through old lacrosse pictures in like middle school, elementary school, like I always had like not buff arms, but like I had little cut shoulders like as a kid. And like I was always really good when we had to do push-ups. Like I was always good at them. So I think like the genetic side of it for sure. And then like once I started working on it, it just kind of was
Multiplied it.
fast. Yeah.
Did you have a nickname growing up, or do you have a nickname now that I don't know about?
Not really. My full name is Alexandra, so I guess Alex is already a nickname. I don't know. My mom calls me Punky, but that's about it.
Got it. Yeah, no, we won't push for that publicly. How do you feel about like being a competitive CrossFit athlete with a sports background, right? Because there's a lot to say about like athletic development in other sports prior to coming to CrossFit. Do you think that that's something that weighs heavily on your ability to be a great CrossFit athlete, or do you think that you could? Because, for example, we've got a lot of teenagers, like young teenagers, that are jumping straight into CrossFit instead of playing football, baseball, basketball, lacrosse,
Yeah,
swimming.
I think there's 2 sides to that coin. I think a lot of it can be really beneficial for CrossFit. Like you have people that were like gymnasts and swimmers, or whatever sports like do translate directly into CrossFit. I think that's really beneficial. I played lacrosse, like that was my thing. I mean, I don't think we'll ever hold a lacrosse stick on the CrossFit field.
Hey,
I mean, hey, it'd be fun, but I don't think we ever will. Um, so I don't know. I don't think you really need to have like a gymnastics or swimming background. I think it's helpful, and like people that know how to swim just know how to swim, and like it's amazing. Um, so like yeah, I had to start behind in the gymnastics category or the swimming or whatever. Like I still have to like work on all those things, whereas maybe some people don't. But I wouldn't change anything. Like I think it's super important for kids to make memories. Like on a team, you learn so much stuff, like how to be a good teammate, how to be a good athlete, like hand-eye coordination, just things that like maybe CrossFit doesn't teach you. And I think there's a good chance of getting burned out if you start so young. And granted, there's going to be outliers, like Mal started really young and she's like going full in, but I think for the majority of young kids, like that's a long time to stay focused and like keep your body healthy.
Yeah, it's just a lot of work. I mean, it's a lot of physical demand that is arguably tougher than playing intramural football as a teenager.
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure.
You who is your favorite? Because I mean, you're still a rookie, right? So like a year ago, 2 years ago, you've made large strides over the past 2-3 years in the sport. I imagine you're still very much a fan, but also now you're a games athlete. Who's your favorite athlete in the sport? Like, who have you looked up to this whole time?
Well, after meeting like the girls at the gym, like when you don't know anyone, like you just say like, oh, like I don't know. I feel like everyone loves like Sarah Sigmund's daughter. Like if you don't know people, because she's like the sweetheart, like really funny and like fit and really cool. But then of course, like after actually coming to the gym and meeting KP and Bethany and DB, like it's hard not to have like them. And like I miss Carrie. I don't know. I miss Carrie and Bethany so much. I just want them to come back.
Well, luckily we get to see Carrie like once a week.
If you're listening to this, Carrie, yeah, if either of them are listening, please come back.
I'm sure they're tuning in live right now. Who's your favorite person to compete like with or against?
That's a good question. I don't know. Everyone was really great at Granite Games. Like it was so fun. All the girls were super sweet and like there was no like bad feelings behind the scenes and like everyone was cracking jokes and like lifting each other up. That was probably like one of my favorite competitions as far as like the women behind the scenes. Like it felt very fun and like good camaraderie.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's not always the case at every competition. So
yeah.
You mentioned like you don't imagine carrying like a lacrosse stick at the CrossFit Games anytime soon. If you were to like pick an event, right? Because typically CrossFit Games, 15 events, there's always a unique one. A couple years back, there was like the battleground, like the obstacle course, right? A really interesting event. If you could choose anything unique like that, what would it be?
That's a good question. I feel like it couldn't be something like lacrosse because it's not fair. Like if I show up and have like 8 years of experience with my stick and like I can like twiddle it around, like that's not fair. So
yeah,
I think stuff like an obstacle course or like all that stuff is really fun. I guess they did like the biking that one year and that was new. That's a good question. Probably an obstacle course of some sort. I don't know. I feel like
I love the obstacle course. Like I'm definitely all for watching the obstacle course.
Yeah.
I don't know when the last time you watched that was, but just a reminder, Matt Frazier and Pat Vellner, especially Matt, fell from the top.
Yeah.
And got like bounced back up and started running. It was like an action film where you're like, there's no way that happens in real life, but it did. Like boom, and he's running. Where like normally if you fell from a 12-foot thing, you'd just be like, like that was crazy. I'm not saying I want to see that again, but I still want to see another battleground or something. But some thoughts have been like for example, Christian Harris did the Spartan race event. I think it was early this year or late last year. And one of the events was like kind of like a sumo wrestling style event where the first person to push the other person like pass a line, like King of the Hill kind of thing. Like I feel like obviously if it was wrestling or if it was boxing, like that's way too specialist and aggressive. But if it was like tactical maneuvering, like King of the Hill, like that doesn't require like you're not punching each other.
Skill.
There's not a full
that
Nelson.
Would be fun. I'd be curious how they would like organize that so that way like it was fair in regards to like who's going against who and how many times you go back to back. But that could be really fun. I'd be into that.
Yeah. I feel like there would be a correlation to like the legless rope climb event to this event because it's a lot of like manhandling pretty much. So like I don't know that it would be that fair, but it would still be kind of entertaining. What
It'd be very entertaining.
What's kind of like, in short, if you were to give advice to an early CrossFitter who wants to be competitive long term, like what would be your recommendation to them?
I would give them the same advice that was given to me that honestly probably kept me like consistently moving forward and not having any burnout feelings. I wanted to go as a teenager, so I started CrossFit in 2016. So I had like one season to like try, and I like missed it by a couple spots, and I was like really devastated. But prior to like really going for it, Reagan and all the girls sat me down and pretty much told me like, hey, like we want you to try to go as a teenager, like that's awesome, cool, like we'll support you, but like don't put all your eggs in that basket. Think bigger and think long term. And I think that could be said for qualifying individual too. Like don't do so much so fast that like you're overtraining or like killing yourself mentally to like go right now. Like if it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen, and like enjoy the process. I feel like that's been the biggest thing that's helped me.
Cool. Now, around goal setting, like aside from things like CrossFit Games, do you set goals?
Yeah, I mean, Justin and I talk a lot about this, especially as of lately, like mindset and stuff. I don't love setting unrealistic goals or expectations. So, like with the CrossFit Games, like I set that goal, but I didn't put a timeline on it. So I wasn't like, oh, I want to make the games by 2024 or like whatever. It was more like I want to make the games, and like however that happens, it happens. Or like with lifting, like I want to hit this number or this number, but like there's no timeline. So I set goals, but I like much more like the process goals. Like my goal is to put all my intention on my technique today, or go to sleep at 9 o'clock tonight, like things like that.
Do you like journal about it? Do you have it in your iPhone notes? Is it all in your head? How do you do that?
Mostly in my head. Like I have a couple goals on my fridge that like I look at, but otherwise it's all in my head.
Okay. What about like New Year's resolutions? Are you like a yearly goal person, or is it just like there's these few big things?
It's more just like as they come up. Like I think New Year's resolutions are a little overrated. Like if you want to do something, just make it happen. So just when they come up.
Love it. If you want to do something, just make it happen. I like that. What about outside of CrossFit? Do you have goals outside of CrossFit?
Yeah. I mean, like I want to be financially like stable, like and hopefully retire before I'm like really old. So I don't really have a process for this yet. I want to like retire by 50 if I can, and like I want to be able to support Jake because he's trying to take over his family's business. So like goals outside of CrossFit are just like continue to navigate married life, and I don't have any like big goals like, oh, I want to do this or get this degree or anything, but just like happy life.
Yeah, cool. What if you were to be on a team, who would you want on your team?
Ooh, that's a good question. I don't want to go on. The worm hurt so bad. There was like a little. I don't want to answer this question. I don't know. I feel like there's too many people that I love, and I don't want to hurt feelings.
We'll just tell them stop watching at 39 minutes. You don't want to hurt Raph and Mitch's feelings. Is that what you're saying?
Anybody's feelings, but they did really want to go team this year. That's true, and they're still looking for girls. So if there's girls that want to come be on the team,
come to Vegas.
No, there was like a little talk of Carrie maybe coming back for team, and I would do that if she came back for team. I would be on a team with her.
That would be scary.
I don't know who the boys would be, but I would do that.
Cool. Do you have like a hero or heroes outside of CrossFit, like someone that you grew up looking up to, or like a character or anything like that?
Not really. I have like a couple family friends that like I really look up to, just like their like relationship with God and just like who they are as people. But I don't really have any like, oh, like Hannah Montana is my hero. Like I don't really have anything like that.
That's mine, so I wasn't sure if we had the same one.
Good. I did love Hannah Montana. I watched all that. I probably would still watch it if it was on TV. I'm not gonna lie.
That forgive my ignorance, but Hannah Montana is
Miley Cyrus.
Miley Cyrus, right? It's so weird that that's the same person now. You know what I mean? Like, what happened? Anyways, if you let's talk about that for a second. You mentioned God. You're a Christian, right? Have you always been a Christian, or how did that come about?
I grew up going to church like when I was younger. My parents took me like, so I knew like that God was a thing, and like I said I believe in Jesus. I didn't really know what any of that meant, but like I went to church and I got my donut on Sundays, like very just like open-minded, I guess. When my parents got divorced and things kind of happened, they stopped going to church. So I never really went. But like I always like carried the God thing with me, and I'd say in high school is when I met a couple people that really influenced me, and I was like, what does this mean when I'm saying like I believe in God, or like because I knew like about being like a nice person, but like I didn't know what anything else meant. So like I really took probably my sophomore junior year to like invest in that and like read about it, learn about it, and then be about it. So yeah, it was probably around then.
Cool. And how does that, like, you know, especially in Vegas, this is not the Bible Belt. How does it? What was it like in Oregon, like in Northern Oregon, or in Oregon, which is already northern, anyways. And in Vegas, like, how do you live that out? Like, do you find that it's complicated in Vegas, or is it just like anything else?
I would say it's just like anything else. Like, there's gonna be, I guess, what you'd call like things outside the lines anywhere you go. Vegas just happens to be known for the alcohol and the partying and the strip. But also like there's so much more to that. And I think like a good example is like Jesus didn't hang around perfect people. He hung around all the imperfect people and like just shared love. And I feel like that's the most overrated part about everything is like people hear the word Christian and they kind of get off put because there's a lot of like feelings of goody two shoe, like I'm better than you because I believe in God and because I follow these rules. But I feel like people miss the mark because that's not really what it's about. It's not about following the rules, like, and so I don't know. Vegas doesn't really like where you're at doesn't matter. It's just about like
cool. That's really cool.
Spreading love, yeah.
Spread love. So Alex, this is like the really this last part of the conversation. There's like some rapid fire questions that I have, and then a couple like deeper questions. I try to just mix them together to keep it fun. But if you were to put anything on a big blank billboard over like the busiest road, what would the billboard say?
Probably something cliche like "You are loved" or like something like that.
That's so funny. You're the third person to say that exact thing. Amanda Barnhart was one.
Oh, really?
It would be mine. That's what I would say because I don't remember the other person. So if she's watching, forgive me. It was another girl. But the reason why me and Amanda would say that is because like we would rather put like Jesus loves you, but people don't like those. So like just saying you are loved is an easier way of being like, hey, like you're loved, you know? So maybe it is cliche, but I like it. So but that's so funny. It's the third time on the show. Apparently I just like to bring on really nice people to the show. So if you had to this is like the opposite question. You're not gonna like this question. Have you ever heard of the trolley dilemma?
No, but I'm ready for it. My sister-in-law is so cute and asks me all these horrible would you rather questions. So
All
I'm
right. Well,
ready.
here it goes. So imagine you're on a situation where there's a train and you're in control of where the train goes. There's 2 tracks, and at the end of one track is 5 strangers, and at the end of the
Okay.
other track is your loved one. We'll say Jake.
Uh,
It's got to go one way or the other.
5 strangers.
I thought you were asking yourself that question, but you were answering my question, right?
5 strangers.
It's 100 strangers. What are you doing now?
That's terrible, Jared. You can't keep making mistakes. It's probably 100 strangers.
Hey, I hope Jake watches this clip. Are you a reader, Alex? Do you read?
Kind of. I don't like read for fun always, but like I like like fictional books. Like I like that, but I don't read a lot of like actual smart books.
What did you say? Actual smart books? Fictional books can be smart. What was the last like fictional book you read?
I just read actually recently this really good book. It was like a murder mystery. I don't remember what it was called though. I think it was called like The Night Swim or something. It was really good.
Well, that's a movie too, I think. So it was a good movie.
Maybe it's from a movie. I don't know.
What's your favorite cereal?
Ooh, peanut butter puffins.
What is that?
It's like peanut butter. It's like kind of like Captain Crunch or like a Reese's Puffs almost.
But what's the difference?
It's like these little squares. They're really good.
Where do you get that from? I've never even seen those.
They have them at Sprouts. They have them at Albertsons, Whole Foods.
So it's like a fancy cereal.
You know Barbara's, like the brand Barbara's?
Yeah.
It's that brand.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is it like healthier?
I mean, I guess it's organic. I don't know.
Tacos or
It
pizza?
doesn't really make it healthier though. Oh, tacos.
Tacos or
For
burgers?
sure. Burgers.
How much of your success, and maybe not just yours, but like we'll just say in general, how much of the success in CrossFit do you think, like if you're looking at like a pie graph, how much of that pie graph is hard work and how much of that pie graph is like God-given genetics?
Oh, that's a good question. And I feel like I talk about this a lot with people because I'm not sure. I feel like I know people that work their ass off and like the effort is there 100% and like maybe they fall short. And then I know people that like barely do half of what that one person does and are like succeeding by flying colors. So, man, I don't know. I feel like I almost want to say like half and half, but I do also believe that hard work beats talent. It just, if you don't have enough of the genetic stuff, I don't know. That's a good question. Like, for example, my bench press. Like, yeah, I work out, I work hard, like I train all the time. But before quarterfinals, we benched once a week doing like dumbbell single arm bench press in our accessory work. Like we were on a bench press cycle, like, and I just was able to do that. Whereas like snatches for me, I have to work my ass off like 3 days a week, whatever. I can barely do it. Whereas like some people just get it and I don't know. I think it's half and half.
Okay, 50-50 it is. Beach or mountains?
The beach.
Yeah. Which beach? Are you on the West Coast or are you going to the East Coast?
I'm not super familiar with the East Coast, but I'm going to I'd like a warm beach.
Warm beach it is.
Yes.
This if you could choose between understanding all human languages or being able to talk to all animals, what would you choose?
That would be cool. Probably animals. That'd be really cool. I already speak Spanish, so like I don't
Yeah,
need to
that's
learn
enough.
that.
You're good.
Yeah.
Which animal would you want to talk to the most? Like what kind of animal?
My dog,
Aside from your dog.
so I could tell him he's not listening and he'd understand. Oh, what a brat. Let's see. That'd be interesting. It'd be interesting to just like know what animals are thinking. Like Jake and I were on a walk yesterday. There was like these fish in a pond. Like, what are those fish? Like, they're just hanging out. Probably.
That's
Yeah,
funny.
I'd just be curious.
If you thought about that, that's hilarious. What are
Yeah,
those fish thinking?
We went to the zoo, Matt and I, before Granite Games, and like there was these gorillas. And they were just like picking their nose, eating it. Like I don't know. Like what's going through their mind? Like are they just?
Yeah, what's their conversation like? All right, Alex, I'm gonna let you go after this one. I think you might have. Well,
There we go.
okay, you're back. Yeah.
Sorry, someone called me and it cut me out.
Ignore them.
I did.
Last one, best one, Alex. How do you want people to remember you? Like, obviously, way later on down the road.
On my character, like how I make them feel. Like, do they leave our interactions feeling like good and uplifted, or like, eh?
That's good. I like it. Hey, Alex, thanks again for being on the show.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Of course. I'm so happy for you and your performance this past weekend and everything that
Can
you
I
worked
ask
hard
you
for.
a question?
Yeah.
With the trolley question, I want to know, what would you pick?
So it's different for me, right? Because I'm not married. So I'm not like I know that's like an expression of love that can't be, you know what I mean? And I'm not like super close with anyone in my family. I mean, I do love my family. So it is a different question for me. I would probably pick the 5 because there's no one loved one in my life. I love a lot of people in my life, but I don't have like one, you know what I mean? So I'd probably pick the 5. I would for sure pick the 100. And here's why. Because there's probably like the next doctor that's going to cure cancer or like the next president or something weird in that 100. So I would for sure pick the 100. The 5 would be tough. If I was married, I would for sure pick my wife over the 5. Or if I had a kid, I'd for sure pick my kid over the 5. But over the 100, I'm going with the 100. I've thought about it.
I'll ask you again when you're married.
Thank you. Hopefully it's a good enough marriage to where I'm still sticking with my original answer. Fingers crossed, right? Awesome, Alex. Well, when are you coming back to Vegas?
Monday.
Okay. I'll see you Tuesday in the gym then.
Deal.
Thanks for being on. We'll see you later, Alex.
Yeah, sounds good. Thanks, Jared.
See you.